And even me saying that to anyone who listens shouldn't really super take it to heart. Like, if you play League and you love League, good on you. I should probably start with that at the beginning. I should probably cut this and put it at the very beginning. This is not to attack League players. It's to attack the system of how League is geared. And I'm pretty sure League players understand that part, and they think that's the worst part of League, is how it is marketed. Okay, kind of just want to get into it. It's another episode. This time reviewing series, Netflix, League of Legends, Arcane, and I don't know what to say, honestly. This is going to be more like a rant on intent, and I'll try and make it as short as possible. It's good, and you should watch it. And no, you don't need to know god all anything about League of Legends to enjoy it. That's not the point, really. But I can't help but think, like the fights are good, the color is beautiful, the animation is pretty much flawless. But is that all it is? Like, at some point, there's just an issue of this is just a 9 episode, 4 hour ish music video. And that's like the number one thing I want to talk about is the moment, I think it's episode 5, where Imagine Fucking Dragons has been animated as glowing steampunk thugs who are singing their own song that they made, I think specifically as the intro for the series, as the opening theme. And so this is just a music video now. And the guys are in it like that, and they've been animated specifically for it. And I can't stop thinking about that moment more than anything else. I can't help it. I think the characters are good and well written, and there's a lot of emotion, and I'll watch season 2, and everyone should watch it. It's, in some ways, it feels Into the Spider-Verse levels of good. That's the initial reaction. But however, they didn't, I don't think, unless I missed something, and maybe they did it for the actual music video, but it wasn't in the film, they didn't animate fucking Post Malone into the Spider-Verse. Let me ask you something. Would you watch Into the Spider-Verse over and over and over, like I know you do, if Post Malone was in it for 2 minutes to sing Sunflower? Would you? I That's my problem is and it's so dumb. I get it. That one, like, 2 minutes of Imagine Dragons. Maybe it's really the band, and that awful, and that petty, shallow, dumb. But it's Imagine Dragons, which to this day, despite the fact, like Nickelback, 15 years prior, everyone made fun of them. They still made a shit ton of money. Everyone knew who they were, and they still were getting hot singles and stuff, despite being that their sound is not marketable in any other way for any other band that sounds like them, even though there are a bunch of bands who sound like them and don't. I didn't care that the theme song was made by Imagine Dragons, but just putting them in, that waste of time animating them to insert them into this enrich, deep story. Didn't everyone complain about Ed Sheeran being in Game of Thrones? Didn't they get mad when they realized that, oh crap, Coldplay killed everybody in the Red Wedding? Wasn't that like a huge complaint of, like, and then now that Game of Thrones ending sucked for a lot of people, not everyone, whatever. But because a lot of people didn't like Game of Thrones endings, they're like, oh shit, guess we should have realized it was a bad idea when Coldplay killed people, or when Ed Sheeran was put in there, and stuff like that, right? And here we are again, and it worries me because Riot Games is notorious for being bad and greedy and not caring about its players and not caring about its product more than just pushing sale numbers. That's all over the place, and they're still the ones who executed this happening. And I think this analysis is important to know, like, when we call something a masterpiece, is it okay that for 2 minutes there was just this huge nonsensical marketing scheme put in it as like what? Like I see people talk and complain so much about product placement. You know, if you get too much of a good logo of the what brand of car, like Chrysler, Toyota, or Subaru or whatever in a film, people complain about it being, you know, not real film and it's commercialism or whatever, right? Or that real good shot of a Pepsi logo or anything like that. But there's also this kind of product placement where a whole band was drawn by hand, digitally put in through computer, drawn by computer, whatever the process is, for hours upon hours by people. So does this show have heart? The answer is yes, but how much? And it's not so much a complaint to not watch the show. Watch the show. It is good. But I get worried sometimes that when we allow things like that, it makes a studio or a company like Riot Games feel like, oh, this is enough goodwill. We can do whatever the fuck we want again. It feels like it builds up points of, yeah, okay, so, hey, remember when we made Arcane? We can't be all bad. But they put Imagine Dragons in there. They made people who were probably underpaid and probably not part of a guild or a workers' union for hours have to digitize those motherfuckers in. And that doesn't feel right. Right? I'll never play League of Legends. I don't like the idea of playing multiplayer games like that at all. I remember as a kid just hating the fact that sometimes guys I barely knew would invite me over to their place to play Call of Duty just because they wanted someone who didn't play that well to kill easily. You know, that kind of nonsense. I'm not into that. And I don't want to get good at League just to everything screw up one split second and ruin everything. And I've seen that happen to people. And I've heard it happen to people. There's Twitch streams all over forever on the internet about it. So don't care about League. And this has nothing to do with League, honestly. I've always joked, and apparently it's the big consensus, like, man, all this effort into trying to sell me League of Legends with these commercials, they should just make their own actual, like, anime. It's got an anime feel to it. And they did it, finally, but it feels kind of fake pace? I don't know what that means. It just feels beat for beat and easily predictable. I don't know anything about the lore. I don't know anything. But as someone who is obsessed with understanding storytelling, I've watched hundreds and hundreds of films and anime and just TV shows in general. Nothing felt out of place ever. Nothing changed anything. It's pretty, but it's all just copy and paste from other things that feel more compelling or more genuine. That being said, I love Vi and I love Jinx. Silco's a pretty cool character. Sometimes these videos are just rants for rant's sakes because I want to get out there and people just think about the things we consume. Sometimes I don't want to do a review and I just want to talk like this about we're consuming it, but is that a good thing on how? Should Arcane really be in the conversation of one of the best animated TV series of all time? Really? Because I've already seen that going on. And everything about Arcane, to me, feels well made, lots of effort put into it, lots of willingness to sacrifice to get it done right, while also feeling not real and just, oh, well, this is what we got to do now. It feels kind of passionless throughout, like the whole thing. And it's because it feels like a 4-hour music video just to convince people that it's a good idea to play League of Legends now, and it's not. It feels like a 4-hour commercial. That it really does. I hate saying that, and I don't want to believe that. And even me saying that to anyone who listens shouldn't really super take it to heart. Like if you play League and you love League, good on you. I should probably start with that at the beginning. I should probably cut this and put it at the very beginning. This is not to attack League players. It's to attack the system of how League is geared. And I'm pretty sure League players understand that part, and they think that's the worst part of League is how it is marketed. And Arcane is just another cog in the marketing system, and I feel it every second I watch it. It makes me wish it wasn't attached to something greater, because every moment makes it feel like it is attached to something greater. And I know origin stories are kind of, that's the point, that's the purpose, but maybe greater is the wrong word, because greater means, to aspire to something. More just something larger, not even big, large, like it's part of a system or an industry or a giant machine. Arcane feels like it's trying to sell me something at every point and moment. And when someone dies, I'm sad for a moment because it's very heartfelt, but at the same time it's like, oh, it's because they're not in the game, so who cares? And that's a little bad voice in the back of my head. And I think about the fact that everyone's just talking about how good it looks and how well it's made. No one's talking about the directors or the writers or the voice actors. Do you know who the voice actors are in this? Are any of them voice actors from the game? Or are they prolific voice actors in, animated series that we all know if you actually look it up and go, oh shit, that's who that was? Because that's what it feels like. That's the big problem, is when I turn off the TV and it's over and I'm not watching it anymore, it feels like none of it mattered. And I think the biggest and most egregious problem with that, two actually, is the Imagine Dragons insert, which suddenly makes the entire series feel like one giant commercial, and then the ending. Cliffhanger endings are fun and interesting, they're to make you watch again, but sometimes when they're that heavy and that whiplashing intense of, oh, you just did something that's supposed to basically render a lot of shit we just watched for 4 hours useless, because it's going to result to deaths of characters we just watched, because again, they're not in the game, so maybe their growth and their personality never mattered. Or they are in the game and it's like, oh, well, the character we just saw is now drastically going to change because it has to, because it doesn't fit the game or something, maybe. But all of that, it just didn't feel right. I think I would have dealt better with everyone going their separate ways, and we're like, oh, how are they going to start season 2? But now we know how they are. And if they don't, and this is a big problem, a huge fucking foible in so much storytelling, right? That is one of the things that made me stop watching Walking Dead, honestly. And that's doing this big thing, this big holy cow moment, and then not talking about it for like a whole episode. I guess that shouldn't matter for Netflix, because they're gonna shoot out 3 at a time, probably, like they did this one for season 2. But it doesn't feel right. That ending feels like, thanks for watching, and to make sure you come back, instead of trusting that we will, because they know this is just a 4-hour commercial. All that ranting aside, if you're still here, thank you so much. I give it an 8 out of 10 for enjoyability. It's one of the few shows I've watched this year where when I turn it off, I start to think if watching it was really important. And I don't think that's a question you should ever ask something that other people are going to start calling a masterpiece or one of the best things of its type ever made, because you shouldn't feel that way when you're done watching. You should be excited for the next. But I can't help but feel like I was lured in, promised things, even though I kind of wasn't, and then actually got nothing real out of it. That's a weird, scary thought that I just keep having every time I think about it. Why it took me like a week after watching the show to even be sure if I wanted to make a review about it at all. But that is pretty much it. I hope it's not too long. This might just end up being a rant channel. I hate that idea. It's terrifying. I don't want to just rant. But thank you for making it this far. Thank you for watching. As always, you can like, share, subscribe, or not. But just thank you for listening, and have a good night.